All right. I think I know how to clear up some of those little crackly hiccups. As you can see, here in a new location. Basically just running a few little tests here and seeing how it goes. So unexpectedly, I ended up moving my office into the trailer, the camping trailer. So obviously I don't live in a camping trailer. I have a home right over here, but we needed some extra space. It just so happens that it came up to the point where it did make sense to move out here. So I think my friend Karen Keener intuited that this was going to happen. We did just in time, as you saw in some of the recent videos I did. I ran some cable for the power. We did some Ethernet cable under the same trench just in time for me to hook up everything and move my whole office out here. So today I was like, yeah, I need to get around to setting up the ability to do some streaming again, the ability to do some recordings and stuff. And I don't like to keep thinking sometimes about something and then thinking, well, yeah, sometime I'll get to that, sometime I'll get to that. So I was just like, what was the fastest way that I can set something up so that I can be able to do a quick little video and test some things out? So that's what we're going to do here today. We're just running through a couple things here. Now, I don't need that on. And if you do come in and you're watching this, just start letting me know if it sounds all right, if the audio is overmodulated. My mixer's been sitting on the shelf not being used, so the kids love to walk up and move and tweak all the little knobs on the mixer, so the settings on it might be different. And I don't really go live on Facebook too often, but I figured, hey, let's just go for it. Now, one of the things on a live stream that you might want to do is share some videos and see if the sound and the audio is overlapping or something like that. I mean, so from my perspective, the audio is definitely going into the stream. I guess I'm not monitoring the live video on Facebook. I don't know if it will let me do that myself. So since we don't have anyone here with us now, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can just pull it up. Everything else looks solid. The internet link seems to be working just fine. Like I said, from my perspective. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I still got my Bluetooth going. Oh yeah, sounds fine. Not a big delay either. Okay, so we're getting audio. Check. Check, check. Yeah, so I am working on some material. We might cover that a little bit here. And so, yeah, so I need to be able to have a place to record that and do the way I want to do it. And part of that is having a place like this to do it. So that's one good thing that's happened out of this move. That camera needs some work there. A little bit heavy on that lighting. I look a lot more pale here than I actually am. And so that's put a delay on things, clearly, right? Having to move my whole office. That, and sometimes, I do a little bit of paralysis by analysis. So, like I said, rather than like with today's video, just sort of plugging things together literally about 5 minutes ago that you're seeing here. A lot of this stuff's been in here for a couple weeks, but the mixer, this mic, the cameras, none of that stuff was hooked up today at all. It was all just sitting around. And so I went ahead and decided, like I said, to just go ahead and get it done and not keep procrastinating. Well, I'll get to that, and everything has to be perfect, and I have to mount my lighting, and I have to, record a few videos to check things. I haven't even done a recording yet. I was going to do a recording, and then I was like, well, I need to eat. I need to get a meal, and I would just, that's what I'll do. I'll just keep coming up with things for reasons why I can't get to the things I need to or want to do, right? Now on the OBS here, it looks a little choppy. Oh yeah. What happened? Let's see. Did something happen? Let's go back over here. How are things looking? Is it working? I think. Sorry for the tech hiccup here. To me, it seems like it didn't. It's not live right now. Okay, it could be fine. It's like the panic sets in. I have no idea what I'm doing, right? But and I was just sort of talking about, oh, it's so awesome going live and just doing things. Well, yeah, but that's sometimes you got to persevere, right? And you got to trigger some complexity. So let's see, if I was to do a slide share, that's what I was trying to set up. So I can share something. Come on, come on. See if we can do it live. All right, there we go. Come on now. Okay. Now I need to go here. Yeah, enter full screen. Okay. Okay, so that worked. Kinda. What's happening here? All right, so yes. Coming up. Let's see, maybe if I put this. Okay, we'll just leave this here. Coming up soon. I am going to eventually record this as a presentation. I was thinking about today sharing a little bit on it. A clip on it just to, try that out and see how it goes. Okay, here. And what it's going to be is a continuation of my series, Movement Traps, Falling into Movement Traps. This one's a sub-series called Fallacies in the Truth Movement. And what we're doing is breaking down various fallacies in the truth movement itself and different dogmatisms and issues, and basically doing philosophy and bringing up problems in philosophies that are dominant out there and that are becoming popular or being something that's in my surroundings, things like that, or the end. Just it's part of doing philosophy, like I said, a debate, and pointing out fallacious reasoning and contradictions in other people's arguments, and seeing if anyone could present a good argument back. And so, yes, we'll be trying to post this when we get it recorded up on the One Great Work Network and TylerBloyer.com as part of the Movement Traps series. And you can go to TylerBloyer.com and click on the Movement Traps. I've made a few changes to the website, though not much at all. So if you've seen the website before, it's very much the same. I've just done a basic change here where you can see the latest videos always right here at the top. And then if we come down, these are the topics. Okay. So as you can see, I have extremely beautiful and well designed and put together website. It's not just your basic WordPress blog type site. and the imagery, the stunning imagery here. And so if you want to click into the movement traps, you'll see that series. And so they're in reverse chronological order, right? So this series goes back to here, 2019. What is wrong with voluntarism? And speaking of arguments and debate, I've made some pretty strong points against voluntarism and really never heard anyone counter the arguments, make any good points back, make any sort of justification for the principles, again, that somehow we're claiming that a vast number of people out there have no free will whatsoever, so they're engaging in all sorts of involuntary action throughout their lives, and they'd just rather have them be voluntary. But they just don't seem they just seem to have periods of losing their free will or something, right? I mean, that's what voluntarism claims. Anyway, we're not going into all refuting it here today, but what we will do is continue on with the movement series, movement traps series, and coming up at some point in the future when things settle down, maybe for me and I round off the edges on the general presentation here, we will be talking about the Federal Reserve mythology. So the Federal Reserve mythology, one of the dominant mythologies within the truth movement, truth and freedom movements, that needs to be discussed, needs to be looked into further, because the propaganda, the information that the truth movement puts out there actually ends up helping the oligarchs, helping the cartels, helping the mob, as I like to call, the governments in the world, because the belief in government is a fallacy. Speaking of fallacies, and government is basically just slavery, and it's a psychological conundrum where people see it as a necessity when really all it is necessary because people are immoral trash. That's why we have government. And they can't take any responsibility for themselves. Okay, so, but when it comes to refuting that or rebelling against it, the one of the biggest things that comes up is the Federal Reserve System and how the economy works, right? Because at that point in people's understanding, they really don't understand anything, and they think it's an economic problem. They think the issues of the world are economic, and that, and then their attention gets, and this still goes on today. The Federal Reserve and the president seem to have this back and forth thing going on, and it's all just a show. The Federal Reserve is not a private organization. They are part of the government, and they're created by the government as an independent agency of government. Okay, so let's get into this a little bit, and then we'll just kind of do a couple other things. But I want to try to share a clip while I'm doing this test. So, all right, just hang tight with me here. Let's pull up this clip and let's listen to what Beth Martin here has to say at the beginning for a little bit, and then I'll jump to the part that I want to cover.
Hello, and welcome to the King Heroes Journey podcast. I'm here with Brendan Sterling so far. We're also, I hope we're going to be joined by John Snyson from the Economic Truth. And you might be familiar with Brendan already. He's been on here. Is this your maybe fourth or even more times?
Gosh, is this my fifth or fourth time? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this a record for King Hero?
Let's see. It might be approaching a record. It might be approaching a record. Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, we were definitely very much hoping to have a conversation today about the differences. And look, we got lots of people interested, of course, in the two perspectives. One, like I'll just talk a little bit about this before we get started. Is that I actually went to Anarchapulco. That's where I met John Sneisen, and that's a whole culture of anarcho-capitalists, how they call themselves, voluntarists. And I could actually relate to a lot of the philosophy because I was born and raised by entrepreneurs who broke out of a lot of the system and used the opportunity to just be independent and create and get the value out of that. So I was the direct recipient of that through my parents. And then, so I could relate to it. Like, for example, if we just chat for a few minutes, see if John comes on. When I was at the event, the first Anarchapulco that I went to it was 5 minutes before the pandemic hit. And then, so my workshop, they didn't pay us for workshops. They didn't pay our way. They didn't pay our hotel, but we were presenters. But unlike a lot of other places where it can be weird to market yourself, it was totally encouraged. So if you were out and about and talking up your workshops and handing out flyers and selling people on coming to them, then they were completely supportive of that. So that was a beautiful thing, because otherwise sometimes people, we were talking about marketing before we got on, can look at that like it's a kind of inherently evil thing, just like money or anything that people position that stuff onto. And so that was really refreshing to me. I was actually able to be very successful in doing that. Got a great turnout for my workshop, and people bought a bunch of books, and I went home ahead even for all I had invested in it. So there are definitely positive things, but the negative thing that might be there is just the doomsday, right? And this is something you've identified so closely, and it's been such a relief for me not to carry the weight of the doomsday anymore. And because you say, from my perspective, that if you let fear drive you in any way, then you're going to get something that reflects that fear. And it could be success, and it could be money, and it could be things that you think you want, but you're going to be empty on the other side, and you will have the life drained out of you in the process, compared to when you can be driven to something because it's important, because it's your purpose, because, like the Bible says, why did tell them who sent me, when it Moses said to God, who sent me, was it Exodus? And then God said, tell them I am sent you.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the potential, right? To be able to do that work from not fear, and but neither looking over or looking past the reality of things, because I think that's where people.
Yes, because fear is the mind killer. Very well said by Beth. That seemed to be working just fine, sharing the clip. So now I'm going to go back to that, and I'm going to... Yeah, and that's true, what she was saying. Like, people don't want to hear even like the big collapse isn't coming, or the big collapse is really psychological and it's part of the manipulation. Or it doesn't even really matter because you're talking about the collapse of a system that you indeed yourself are fighting against and saying doesn't even need to be there. So if it, what is all the stress about? Like, why does all the fear about, like Beth was saying, that's the main driver in a lot of cases. And the freedom and truth movement, there's no lack of that. So now I'm going to go into the part of this clip that I want to go into. It's a refutation of the whole Federal Reserve is private mythology. And I think Brandon Sterling does a great job here. It's actually a clip where Beth brought on John Sneisen, who's a sort of prominent in the economic doomsdayer cult, and the Federal Reserve is private people, and still propagating this mythology, this lie. And Brandon Sterling does a good job of just calmly, walking him through how he's incorrect. And he doesn't, he's still out there making content about, this evil Federal Reserve System. And trust me, folks, I'm not arguing for the Federal Reserve System. I'm not arguing for central banking. Central banking is a tenet of communism. It's part of the planks of the Marxist platform. and I'm not for like fiat currency or like deflationary or inflationary mechanisms like the Federal Reserve System or the grand theft world that can go on with the people that are in control. But private has a very specific legal meaning, and what I'll do, I think, is try to record my presentation, my putting forth what I think about this, and then having someone on like Clint Richardson to explain it even better than I can, who I'm actually using a lot of his work as research for my presentation on this. So there's nothing being hidden here about where I would be looking, and I will point to Clint Richardson's work and Brandon Sterling's work for helping me understand this better. And so it's just about being accurate and fixing our argumentation so we're not espousing and putting out information that's inaccurate, right? So here we're going to skip ahead to the part that I want to cover in this clip. And I haven't created a scene yet in OBS where I can be there with you in the video, because I haven't done this very often, like live streams covering a video where I'm like going over the information with you. Normally, when I say that, I might have a scene in here like that, but for now I'm just going to go back into that clip, and I might hop around a bit here, and we'll talk about this on the other side of the section that I want to cover. If I can find my way back. Okay, here we go. Doing it live today, folks. Again, this is more of a test. I'm basically just testing some things out today. This isn't a production that I planned. In fact, this wasn't even planned for today, so I was just more setting this up to make sure it works. And I figured I'd test, that we're going to be able to do a little bit of a stream without crashing, that we're going to be able to share some clips, that we're going to sound all right. That way I can go back and watch this as well and see, how it came out. In preparation for more of these, we're going to be streaming on X. I'm planning on kicking up potentially a different YouTube channel to have another place to put these live streams, even though they will not put my YouTube channel back up. Even though now it's like all the stuff I was saying that took down my YouTube channel, even though I don't have specifics. So I have been thinking about going back and asking them about what the specific reasons are. Because if it was done around the time I was doing the BioSci War, talking about that the lab leaks aren't actually lab leaks, that it was intentionally leaked. They staged this Wuhan thing to make it look like that it was leaked out of Wuhan. And now this is all coming to light that it was actually created in North Carolina, that our military and is actually behind creating the COVID virus that was then leaked, accidentally, right? No, all this was done intentionally, and this is all now coming to light. But are they going to come and reinstate my channel, which I'd been working on for many years to build up some steam and get things going over there, and finally did have that going, and then they went ahead and axed my channel for information that's now, oh, it's okay to talk about it now. But back then, when most people weren't looking at the information I was looking at, which is still readily available and was back then as well, just because it wasn't the narrative back then, it's not okay to talk about those things, right? So the Nazis over at YouTube can really fuck off. But I may decide to put, if it's just plugging in a stream key, and I can start up some videos going back over there live, I may do that. Obviously, we're here on Facebook, and then I'll have another one going over to Odyssey and X. I want to round those out and get back into doing some coverage of things. But speaking of that, let's go back to the clip, and this may be a little messy, me getting to the point in the clip that I want to get to, but just be patient with me here.
Hello.
Supply as well, like through these programs. So people just park there. Like when I worked in Manitoba in the construction industry, So it's they're separated, as an entity. They're not.
Of yourself with him at your website, and then I know, Brandon, you have some things maybe to say about that. Do you guys want to?
Yeah, no, I actually work with Jadra Griffin and Freedom Force International. I sit on the board with him, and he actually wrote the foreword to one of my books, by the way. So yeah, he's a good friend of mine. And of course the Federal Reserve, the book on it itself, like it just points out the obvious things, like the Federal Reserve has shareholders, that they pay dividends to. Very different from the Canadian Central Bank that are owned by the taxpayers of Canada. So it's quite different setup, of course, to the Federal Reserve, which is a privately owned enterprise. So it's they're separated as an entity. They're not federal. They're owned by J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and the other primary dealers, of course, that own shares in the different districts. There's 12 districts of the Federal Reserve, and then they own shares in the Minneapolis or in the New York or in the San Francisco Fed, for example.
So you're saying the Fed is a private corporation, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely not, though. They're an independent agency of government, just like the Postal Service and Social Security Administration.
No, how can they be that when they have shareholders like J.P. Morgan? So
They don't have shareholders.
Yes, they do. Go and look at the Federal Reserve Act. Here.
You can share your screen if you want, John.
Just a second here.
Take your time. Didn't Pierre Trudeau sell out Canada to the international bankers in 1974? And Joy also said Federal Reserve is quasi-governmental. Do you agree with that, Brendan?
Absolutely not. It's an independent government branch.
Right. Like, what do we call that in Canada here? Like a crown corporation?
Well, think of it like this. Congress had to pass a bill for the creation of the Federal Reserve, right? What does that tell you? How is that a private corporation?
Right.
It was created by Congress.
Can you make it real big for us, John?
Yeah, let's try to.
Great, thank you.
So right here, it says, like under the Federal Reserve Act, Section 7, it says, in case of a stockholder with total consolidated asset of more than $10,000, the smaller of, the rate equal to the high yield of a 10-year Treasury note auction at the last auction held prior to the payment of such dividend, and 6%, and in case of a stockholder with consolidated assets over $10 billion or less, 6%. So dividend cumulative. So basically, they're talking about the shareholder of the bank itself, which is stated as the local banks. Let's see if we can find it here.
Well, I will say the government as a whole is a corporation. So when we're talking about, for example, like a local municipality, yes, that is a corporation, but it's not like some private individual is just managing it. The government just organizes themselves with corporations.
Just a structure.
Yeah.
And then, so what do you think of the information that John is sharing here in the Act?
Well, it's not saying anywhere that XYZ is the shareholder.
Let's see here.
I'm not seeing JP Morgan or.
Well, you wouldn't have JP. If you had JP Morgan, it would be pretty obvious.
Well, then I guess where did you see that JP Morgan was a shareholder?
It's the primary dealers. So it's like whoever is, as you can see here. So this is just word, right? So like they can't say it, but in case of a stockholder with a total consolidated asset of more than 10 billion, who is that? And then has bigger than 10 billion in assets, who is that? Like, is it the government?
Yeah,
Both
absolutely.
of them? So there's lots of government entities that have.
There is. There's lots of government entities.
No, I'm saying there's lots of government entities that have shares in the United States Federal Reserve. Then,
I don't
according
know.
to this.
We don't have a list of the actual shareholders.
Yeah, but again, like, what is that like? So you're talking about that just the government is like there's lots of government agencies that are part of this because they're describing more than one shareholder, right?
Right. Well, look, we got multiple government agencies, right? So
they all hold shares in the Federal Reserve System.
I don't know. We don't know who the the shareholders are describing is. I'm just saying it's definitely not J.P. Morgan.
Here, dividend amount after necessary expenses of a Federal Reserve Bank have been paid and provided for by the stockholders of the bank shall entitled to receive an annual dividend on paid in capital stock of. So like I get that you think that like just because it doesn't say JP Morgan, it's not them, but it's quite clear that there's entities, several entities.
All right, guys, if you're just tuning in, we are actually covering how the Federal Reserve is actually an independent agency of government and not a private entity in the legal sense, right? So, but you'll hear this argument commonly made in the freedom community, the so-called truth and freedom community, making inaccurate, non-true arguments that the Federal Reserve is a privately held organization. But as you're seeing here in this clip that Brandon is just patiently breaking down, the fact that it's not, and John Sneisen, who's drinking the Kool-Aid completely, cannot understand or agree with Brandon at all or understand what he's saying. And he's still out there touting the same rhetoric as he has been before this debate. So the Federal Reserve System here on their own website, thefederalreserve.gov, says who owns the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not owned by anyone. The Federal Reserve was created in 1913 by the Federal Reserve Act to serve as the nation's central bank. The Board of Governors in Washington, D.C. is an agency of the federal government and reports to and is directly accountable to the Congress. The Federal Reserve derives its authority from Congress, which created the system in 1913 with the enactment of the Federal Reserve Act. This central banking, quote, system, unquote, has three important features. One, a central governing board, the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, a decentralized operating structure of 12 reserve banks, and a blend of public and private characteristics. The board, appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate, provides general guidance for Federal Reserve System. So it's basically like Brandon was saying in the video, it's like the post office. It doesn't, the Congress doesn't run the daily operations of the Federal Reserve, but it doesn't make it a privately held entity. And just because here they're saying it has characteristics of that still doesn't make it so it's a privately held entity by like JP Morgan and the Rothschilds or something. Like, are they manipulating things behind the scenes or something? Yeah, that is more likely than not happening, right? But is it accurate to say that the Federal Reserve is private? No, it's more of an independent agency of government. So the Federal Reserve is a central bank of the United States here on USA.gov. This came up in my search, but here's other independent agencies of government. The Federal FCC, the EPA, the NTSS, the CPSC, NASA, NRC, the FTC. Those are other examples of independent agencies of government, which is what the Federal Reserve is. Not a privately held independent organization, right? So in the United States, independent agencies are agencies that exist outside the federal executive departments, those headed by the cabinet secretary. and the executive office of the president. In a narrow sense, the term refers only to those independent agencies that, while considered part of the executive branch, have regulatory or rule-making authority and are insulated from presidential control, usually because the presidential power to dismiss the agency's head or a member is limited. See, so this doesn't make it private when Alan Greenspan stands up there and says the Federal Reserve has no authority, or no one in the government has any authority to explain what the Federal Reserve can do or tell the Federal Reserve what to do. First of all, he's not allowed to publicly, in a hearing like that, discuss exactly how the inside operations of the powers between the federal government and the Federal Reserve work. And he knows that, so that's why he couldn't say exactly how things work in the hearing. And then B, he's basically saying that what I'm reading here on this Wikipedia article, it's not, they don't control the daily operations of the Federal Reserve. The Congress isn't deciding over at the post office what the stamps are going to look like that year and how they should, if they should be using electric cars in their vehicles or not. These aren't daily operations of the Congress because they have other things to focus on. So they make what's called independent agencies to operate independently, but it doesn't mean that they're privately held. And just because they're stocks, let's go back to the clip if I can find the point where I was at, and we'll continue on till the end of this clip here. This is again, guys, today mostly just a test for me, testing out my new setup. We're going to be on our way to making more content, making more streams, doing more things like this, breaking things down in the movement traps, fallacies in the movement traps, the Federal Reserve mythology, which is coming up soon. I'm working on this presentation here. It is movement traps from my series, Falling into the Movement Traps, and we're going to be covering the Federal Reserve mythology. We're doing a little sneak preview of some of the arguments there that we have, showing that this is basically just more truth movement mythology, patriot mythology. It's a false dialectic. It's a boogeyman that's not real to make you look in the wrong direction as far as the solutions, because the real solutions have nothing to do with economic problems anyway. So this is all just like a red herring, but we're going to break it down to make sure people remove this rhetoric from their whole "this is how we win" rhetoric. Okay, so let's go back here.
So there's lots of government entities that have.
There's lots of government entities.
No, I'm saying there's lots of government entities that have shares in the United States Federal Reserve. Then,
according to we don't have a list of the actual shareholders.
Yeah, but again, like, what is that like? So you're talking about that just the government is like there's lots of government agencies that are part of this because they're describing more than one shareholder, right?
Right. Well, look, we got multiple government agencies, right? So
they all hold shares in the Federal Reserve System.
I don't know. We don't know who the the shareholders are describing is. I'm just saying it's definitely not J.P. Morgan.
Here, dividend amount after necessary expenses of a Federal Reserve Bank have been paid and provided for by the stockholders of the bank shall the entitled to receive an annual dividend on paid in capital stock of. So like I get that you think that like just because it doesn't say JP Morgan, it's not them, but it's quite clear that there's several entities, either above or below $10 billion, that does hold shares.
Well, let me ask you this then: if you know that's a corporation, it's a private corporation, where is it registered?
A private corporation.
Is it in Delaware?
Like the Federal Reserve?
Yeah, if it was if it's what you're describing, couldn't we pull up the public record of the corporation? wherever it's registered?
I don't know.
That's how corporations work, right? You can look up the charter and the articles of incorporation. So how come nobody can find that for the Federal Reserve if it's what they say it is?
Right. The common understanding, I believe, is that the Federal Reserve is a private company. Shareholders are secret. And I think, Brandon, you said explicitly that that's not the case, right?
Companies are registered. It doesn't matter, a company, corporation, whatever.
Yeah. So you say the Federal Reserve is not private. It's as public as it comes, correct?
It's not private.
Right. And then Sane Lady disagrees with you, just so you know.
Oh, I know. I've seen her
Yeah.
comment. I don't
Yeah,
really
so
care.
there's no proof of either or, right? Because you can't prove that the U.S. Here, let me stop sharing it though.
There you go.
Yeah, so there's no proof of either or. Like, I would like proof that it's owned by the government as well.
Well, it's very clear. I mean, it's been stated over and over in Congress documents. It is an independent branch of government, just like the U.S. Post Office.
Where? Show us the. I want to see it.
Hold on.
All right, we're getting the nitty gritty here. It's good.
My point is, though, no one can prove that it's privately held by the banking families, like a lot of the conspiracy, these people making these points say. I'm not saying that's what you're saying.
Well, it's pretty obvious that it was created by the banks. What you got to remember is, for example, there's something called the Exchange Stabilization Fund in the United States. What it's used as a stabilization mechanism to try to manipulate the U.S. dollar. And back in the day, they actually it was created in 1933 during the Gold Act, where they confiscated all the gold. Well, not all the gold, but they confiscated a bunch of gold from the population. And with $2 billion, it was a fund called the Exchange Stabilization Fund that was created. And that fund actually, is used by multiple branches around the world to go in markets. They have a market trading desk and so on that they go in and then trade. Now, of course, the primary dealers, what you got to remember is, like, there's certain banks that are just members of the Fed. Everybody else are not members. And so the primary dealers, they are the ones that are going to get bailed out. And if you look at the records of 2019 during the during the blow up in the repo market, the banks that got bailed out was JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, and every other primary dealer. And so why are they getting bailed out? And, like, if it's a government entity, why are they only bailing out the primary dealers and not the other banks?
Well, it's because, I mean, if they didn't bail out, let's say JP Morgan, for example.
Why can't we let it fail?
Why would they?
But
I mean, that is the backbone of the banking sector in the U.S.
Yeah,
why would they let that fail?
Clearly it can't run properly if they have to bail it out. Shouldn't
That
it
only
just go
happened
bankrupt?
once. That only happened in 08, though.
And 2019. Here, let me show you. I got the stats here.
Ian has a good question while we're waiting for that. Where does all the interest dollars go when the Fed prints money for the government and owes tons of interest? Who gets that cash?
Like, who creates it?
No, where do all the interest dollars go when the Fed prints money for the government and owes tons of interest?
That'd be the treasury holders, whoever that is. And that would be the Federal Reserve or anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. So here, let's see here. Is this the first one?
And do you guys agree with this while we're waiting? The bottom line is that banks firstly and primarily profit from money creation in the USA. That should not be the case.
I don't know if it should not be the case.
But it is.
Look, I mean, in an ideal world, yes. But you got to realize, if all of a sudden the banks stopped making money from money creation, you know how disruptive that would be? So look, I mean, if we want this ideal society, it would be, I mean, good luck rolling that out. competing with what we have now, they're not going to let you do it.
Right. So that's
Yeah.
true that the banks first and
No.
primarily profit from money creation.
Well, yeah, that's how money is created. But my point is,
Why should it be created that way? Why can't we have a fixed supply and then whoever owns it has to have backing to lend?
well, look,
to
in an
assets?
ideal society, sure. But again, we're talking about a utopia, right? And that's not where we're in. So we have to work with what we got right now. I'm not saying I believe in usury. I don't believe in usury. But I can't be in denial of where we are right now.
Yeah, it's the current system, 100%. Like commercial bank creates the most amount of M2 in the world. Like they create 100% more than any, no, way more than that, than the Federal Reserve. And then of course all the European banks, the Chinese banks, they all create their own US dollars and on their own ledgers. So they create fake US dollars called Euro dollars. So it's a whole different system, that's outside of even the US dollar in existence. And so like all of these are creating the dollars themselves. But here's my rundown of who got bailed out. Like this is just a few of the repo days. I believe is this the first one? Let's see. Now this is October. Let me see if I got the other one here. Oh, here we go. This is when it blew up here. So September 17th. This is when it happened here. So as you can see here, these are who got bailed out, like during the repo bailout, and it was J.P. Morgan got a lot of it, and then UBS got 5. So this is let's see, billion. So this is 5.5 billion. J.P. Morgan got 7.6. Goldman got 5,000. No, 5 billion. BNP Paribas got 5. 3.7 to Cantor Fitzgerald. Citigroup got 3.5. Nomura got 3.5. Societe Generale got 3. BOA got 3. 2.5 to Bank of Nova Scotia. 2.4 to Barclays. Deutsche Bank got 1.5. Morgan Stanley got 1.3. Jefferies 1.3. TD Securities 1.2. Mitsuo Securities 1,000. RBC Capital's 1,000, and then BMO 500 million. Amherst Pierpoint, which is a remnant of Pierpoint Morgan, and then Diva Capital got paid 200, and then NatWest. And so when we go and look at the banks, let's see here quickly if we can find.
It goes on where he doesn't ever actually show how it's private. He just ignored all those arguments. Brandon was very nice to let him just jump over the fact that you can't even locate the corporation, you can't pull up the documents, you can't find the corporate charter. The point that it was created by an act of Congress, making it obvious that that's something that is a government organization. And this mythology comes from G. Edward Griffin, Creature of Jekyll Island, and Eustace Mullins and other researchers like that, who pushed this out at a time when we didn't have the same information we didn't have the internet, we didn't have the same tools that we have now to be able to discuss these things. And the whole, they wrote the Federal Reserve Act, on a secret meeting in Jekyll Island. Like, it's a great story to sell books, and maybe people that weren't necessarily congressmen and women authored the act. I mean, this is pretty common practice. The congressmen and women aren't authoring all the acts about things that they're not the subject matter experts in necessarily, right? So, no, I'm not pro central banking. I'm not making an argument to be pro Federal Reserve here. It's the point. The main point of this one is that this is like the biggest thing that gets talked about in the truth and freedom community, and there's a reason for that, because it's directing a lot of energy towards it as a false target. Okay, it's kind of like a honeypot setup in the cybersecurity world. You set up a server that captures a lot of traffic because it looks very vulnerable, But really, like, it's a reverse strategy. Like, you're actually monitoring what's coming in. You're capturing data from people that are coming in to your server, right? So it's set up to take heat. And really, your valuable data is over here somewhere else. But this honeypot is taking all the heat, taking all the pressure, taking all the attacks, even doing some reverse analysis on the type of things that are coming in towards it. And it's not even really where the true data is at that people would want to have anyway. So that's the idea with bringing this up in regards to the truth and freedom community, is because it's another example of how their Patriot mythos, their whole thing, and especially this one that gets talked about all the time, isn't even accurate. And it's clearly not accurate. And I mean, that video I thought was a good summary of the basic argument. And it's pretty obvious that it's not something that's privately held when you start looking at the documents when you hold it up, right? So the whole Ron Paul in the Fed, the thing that like most libertarians, when you talk to them about like what woke them up in modern times in these days, it's like the Ron Paul movement, right? The whole Ron Paul thing. Well, audit the Fed, that's not a real thing. They have an audit. They have a CAFR, annual financial review that they do, and they basically show like where all the funds are coming and going. Again, this doesn't make me pro Federal Reserve for making this argument. It's just pointing out that these things are set up as psychological operations to get people to focus on the wrong thing that has nothing to do with what's actually going to bring about true freedom, prosperity, and actually do what they want to do. End the Fed. Like this idea of ending the Fed doesn't even really matter. Like, they're going to do what they're going to do. The mob's going to do what it's going to do. And even if it ends or not, it doesn't really matter. Like when it comes down to it, because it isn't really real. It's just a belief. It does have real effects at this point, and it's a very interesting situation that it's in right now, this whole economic system. And I'm not saying that I'm not very interested as well. I am, but I'm not. The counter narrative, the false dialectic, is this whole end the Fed movement. That's not where we're going to fix the problem. That's not where real freedom is going to come from, because we ended the Fed, okay? They could end the Fed today, and the problem is still going to be there, okay? And it's the same with the new Donald Trump derangement system, the syndrome, the new um, T. D, what is it? Trump derangement syndrome. The new TDS is the cult of Donald Trump. The idiots that think that because he's the new leader of the dipshits, the puppet president, that somehow things are so much better. And there's all these things that he's doing. We're winning, guys. We're winning. I've heard so many idiots say, right, on the Trump Kool-Aid side. And that's the new TDS, is the fools that follow Trump and don't understand the psychological operation, don't understand that he's just an actor. He's like literally an actor, like from like the WrestleMania or something, the WEF days. He was on TV for years, like in reality shows that are totally scripted, edited, and produced, right? And who plays in those? Actors, people who are actors, right? So it's nothing more than a show. It's an illusion. Politics is slavery. The belief in this Fabian socialist system, the republic. Oh, well, we got to get back to our republic, man, and the Constitution. Like a republic is any better. Isn't North Korea a republic? Or the Republic of China? Like, what makes a republic any better? It's just, again, it's another like false dialectic, the whole Patriot mythology about we got to get back to the Constitution. We got to we got to save our republic. It's not a democracy. What the hell makes a republic like any better, dude? It's all slavery. It's all Fabian socialism. It's all false dialectics. It's all communism or social. It's all just tyranny versus freedom, That's all it is. So there is that's the new. It's all a fraud. Like I was gonna do a series on that if the whole voter fraud thing came up around this time, but it didn't. Funny enough, like there isn't a lot of talk about voter fraud all of a sudden. That's weird. Like I guess they just fixed it this time, guys. I guess the voter fraud thing's just totally fixed now. But I was gonna say the whole fucking thing's a fraud. So, like, just the whole government itself is a fraud. Like, voting for it, okay, why does it? That's like part of the issue. Like, the whole fucking thing's a fucking fraud, dude. So, like, this aspect of the whole slavery system where we get to cast our votes to pick our slave master, like, that's not the fraud. The fraud is the whole thing, dude. So, anyway, the test today seemed to be fine. I did want to run one more test. Actually, there's a few tests I wanted to do. One of them was if somebody wanted to jump in here, which I don't really know how to do with Facebook, and test that to see if everything worked fine there. Now I have the ability to do that by launching a Zoom and just rolling it into this stream. That would be shaky because I haven't done that in a while, and we might have to see how that goes. But this part of this would be if someone wanted to come up and say, "Well, no, I want to talk about how the Federal Reserve is private, and Tyler doesn't know what he's talking about, and I'm going to go up there and make my point." Well, I would be open to having debate, to having some argumentation in a philosophical manner, and to flesh these things out for anyone that wanted to do that, including topics like voluntarism, the Federal Reserve System, anarchy, the freedom and truth community, how I'm wrong about how if we ended the Fed that suddenly we would all be free and that really matters. Let's hear those points. I want to hear my points broken down against voluntarism and how I'm wrong about that, right? So we want to try that. The other thing that I want to try, since it doesn't look like we're going to have anyone jumping in today, is to just share the desktop here, put on my aviator earmuffs here, and let's see. Whoa. Check. Come on now. Come on. I wanted to try just seeing what's going on over here on X, I'm a big Musk fanboy, especially after he did that Sig Heil Nazi salute, you know what I mean? Clearly joking. Not that he didn't do that, but that I'm a fanboy. Alright, so what's going on over here? Nothing much.
Arms or legs or whatever the case may be, then taking, say, an Optimus arm or leg and attaching that and enabling, combining that with a neural link would give them essentially cybernetic limbs. Kind of like Luke, I don't know, like Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back, where you got
I can't wait for the Optimus, personally.
like a robot hand. So I think that could be pretty incredible for people that have lost limbs, being able to have like a cybernetic limb. I think that'd be a cool sort of combined effort between Neuralink and Tesla. If somebody's lost.
And so it seems great, right? That seems like a good idea. But that's the Trojan horse, right? That's where I'm probably going to get an implant, right? Are you not going to get an implant? I'm probably going to get an implant. What? You're not going to get an implant? That's ridiculous. You'll get the implant as soon as they load up your CBDCs on it. All right, so we've been going for about an hour on this stream. Seems like everything worked out. I spent all of about no time troubleshooting before going live, and everything worked without. So it's almost like why did it work that well? Something's supposed to go wrong. something I'm supposed to have a problem. That was the whole point of the test, to work through any issues. I don't think there were any. Maybe I'm just forgetting about any issues that I had. But yeah, we'll have to try that out. I'll have a Zoom going next time. Because I love communist Chinese software personally. And yeah, what's up with everything like exploding and on fire all of a sudden everywhere? I was just firing up the Zoom now just to see. Might as well try it out right now. Let's get a guest in here. I can make it work. Oh, the infamous Zoom update. Let's see how long that takes. Yeah, what's happening over here? United States level 2 hazmat due to a fire at Martinez Refinery Company in Contra Costa County, California. Oh, another California fire. What's happening here? Oh, there's the Zoom. Okay. Thank you, Zoom. Yeah, that'll be a whole nother layer of complexity. Like already something's gone wrong. Okay, there we are. I was gonna say, hello? 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 It does seem like something's wrong. Probably these headphones. I need to get another set. Yeah, what was up with that like missile that, let's see, I think I bookmarked Summit I Am. Yeah, here we go. What's up with this? Like, that's a plane? Boom. Yeah, that doesn't look like a plane. And there's a few different angles, maybe. At least I saw. Look at this video has been deleted. So far that's the only one. Here's a different person posting what looks like the same video. Okay. Okay, so yeah. Now if I go to my Zoom, this is what it would look like, all right? And the guest would pop in right there. My camera is a little off. So I could just be like, hey, here's my link. Got it. And I could be like, oh, you want to drop in and you want to say something, do ya? You got something to say, huh? Yes, sweetie, thank you. I see your comment. We'll see. I'm going to drop the link in there. Just do a live test, you know what I'm saying? Here we can fix this, pull it down. And then you just hold Alt and pull it up. And then There. See, I didn't even have to lean forward to fix my camera. So there, if you want to step up and debate with me, we can do that. Otherwise, just find that link in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Grab that link. Get it right there in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to be over here on X where all the cool people are at. Alright, what's happening over here? What's going on?
Publicly traded companies are Elon and I, which, by the way, makes whatever you think of Elon, calling him a Nazi, especially since it seems to be highly correlated to having been supportive of
I mean, who would call Elon a Nazi like I did like 15 minutes ago? Who would do that?
essentially the Hamas wing of the terrorist movement in some way. It's not causation, but is like completely absurd and like a complete rewrite of history. Only CEOs that CEOs that went to Israel who run publicly traded companies are Elon and I, which, by the way, makes whatever you think of Elon, calling him a Nazi, especially since it seems to be highly correlated to having been supportive of essentially the Hamas wing of the terrorist movement in some way. It's not causation, but is like.
Happiness. It's better than happiness, but it's almost unbearable.
Oh, that's good. I mean, at least we don't have that Jordan Peterson anymore, though, right?
Certainly not just happiness. It's better than happiness.
He would like break down. I mean, I think he got on that Tomcat or something, right?
Oh, yeah. So, I feel like I'm in another dimension right now. What the hell? Oh, my God. I feel like, you not feel this? It's going on. I mean, what the hell's going on here?
It's not just marijuana. Doing acid and ketamine.
Like hardcore psychedelics.
Ha ha ha! It's happening.
Oh my God.
What the
We're
fuck?
all
It's the
gonna
end of the
die.
world.
We're all gonna die. You are dead. You're dead. There is no getting around it. That's just death. Jesus Christ. It's just death. Death.
This is death.
Oh my God, I'm like dead.
Death.
Ha ha ha!
Damn, how'd we get here? I don't know what's going on.
Whoa.
What's real? Think about that. We need to fucking tighten up our belt. Feel the air. What's the real frequency? The only way out of this is to do coke. Anybody do coke?
All right. So what we're doing tonight
We're gonna be okay.
is we started about an hour ago just testing things out here. And I am in a new location. In the camping trailer. That's where my new office is. And so I got a whole setup here. Here, I'll take this. Show you around a little. So there's the setup. Got the 4 monitor spread. Actually 6. and there's my lovely view. So it's very peaceful. There's the shed with the quads. There's the house. Over there is the new backup generator. Oh yeah, I'm not in the mic very well. This is the new backup generator over there with the propane tank. So as you can see, the new digs work out pretty good. I didn't think I was going to use this trailer for this, and I don't plan on being in here permanently. We're going to put the we're going to probably build another outbuilding or a few more outbuildings, and then restore this camping trailer back to its proper use of camping, because I like to take it out camping. That's what it's for. But for now, this works. We needed the extra space in the house. It helps to keep my attention focused on what I'm doing. I see nobody wants to join me in my Zoom to debate hardcore, to debate the Federal Reserve System. No, I mean that little nugget that I shared today, I think starts the conversation, and then when I finish my presentation, we will put it out there on tylerblair.com. Let's see, what else do we got over here? What else did I want to try out today? Let's go for... No one's jumped in my Zoom yet. I'm highly disappointed that no one wants to show up and have a hardcore debate about anything. Anything, guys. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think once I'm on X, because all the cool people are on X, you know, no matter what you think about Elon, like Facebook really does kind of suck compared to X. So what else do we got going on out there in the world?
Tyranny is enveloping the globe.
No more Alex Jones. All right. No crazy things happening out there in the world today, surprisingly. It's been a calmer one. You guys getting ready for that Gulf of America? Bringing us one step closer to the New World Order, baby. All right, well, it looks like there is not a ton of things happening out there. Facebook's dead. People aren't used to having me do live streams on Facebook. All right. Good test. All right, we got multicam. We're doing it. We're doing it. We got 2 cameras with completely different color settings and contrasts because professional. Got our slideshow. Ooh, what happened there? Okay. I'll have to fix that. Okay, see, I found an issue. Okay. I can fix that. Bring it on in. Come on now. Oh, what is happening here? That's not right. Something's wrong with that. Gotcha. Okay. Nice. Everything seems to be working pretty good. Okay. Careful with that axe, Eugene. Here it comes. No, we're not going to play that today. What song should we play as an outro? We got to do another test. How can we get this video taken down from Facebook today? Maybe I'll play a different kind of a song that won't be taken down to end it out today. Okay, let's see. Where can I find... Let's see. What is the name of this group? Okay, here we go. All right, guys. It's been a good test today. Hold on. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to end it on a song. Thanks for hanging out for the test. If you stuck through this ridiculous test, me just kind of playing around, but getting the new studio set up. I do have like a curtain thing to set up behind me that I might try here. I'm not sure how that would work with this monitor. I really don't kind of care as long as it's not messy. I did spend a little time like cleaning up today, thinking I might do this. So I usually keep it pretty tidy, and then the point is to be able to like just fire up and go. Got a thought, got something I want to put out. Just be ready. So the fact that I wasn't was bothering me. Now I've got it all. Everything seems to be working. Whole setup plugged in and ready to go. So we'll see you guys in the future. Like I said, keep your eye out for Falling into the Movement Traps Part 2, Fallacies of the Truth Movement Part 2, the Federal Reserve Mythology. It's a continuation of the Falling into the Movement Trap series. You can find it at tylerbloyer.com. What we do there, we talk about philosophy, we break down arguments, we point out contradictions in other people's arguments, we document other things like this video here. I think I'll process tomorrow, put it out on the different platforms just to keep people up with what we're doing, why things are delayed. Had to move things around. I don't think anyone was completely anticipating my next hot video anyway, but the content over at tylerbloyer.com is evergreen. Check out my recent video, The Creature of Control, the most recent part in the series. It was something I re-listened to recently from a conversation that had come up on Facebook and thought that it was actually pretty well done and breaks down some of my views on modern slavery. It's called Unveiling Modern Slavery's Invisible Chains. So if you see my Facebook page, End Slavery, a lot of people don't really seem to get what the whole concept is of the End Slavery page. And what that is talking about ending mental slavery, ending your beliefs in systems that promote slavery, that make you a slave by being a part of that system, such as government, such as authority in men, authority in external rulers, right? And that's what the End Slavery page on Facebook is all about. And that's what we talk about, that's what we post about. And so we're not pro-Trump or pro the other side. If I make a post talking about anti-MAGA, it doesn't make me pro-Democrat, by the way. Okay, we're talking about ending slavery, such as like ending your belief in government altogether, and that the belief in the false left-right paradigm of politics is slavery. That's a mental slavery. That's a form of slavery. Mental servitude, okay? So that's what that page is all about. But I'm going to go ahead and end it on this other song and get out of here for today because the test went well. If somebody jumps into the Zoom at some point with one of these streams, we'll test that out. I'd like to try it. And otherwise, I'm going to start plugging in more platforms. And maybe if I can get my X account up. So if you're on X, go over there, give me a follow. I'll give you a follow back. Let's build up the X platform. And otherwise, guys, let me see if I can share this out, and we will talk to you next time. Hold on. That's not the one I wanted to share. It's a song, but not the right. There we go. Hold on. Something's not working. Okay. Aha. See, I was confident that I wasn't going to find an issue. And I found one. Okay, I think I can fix this one on the fly. Come on, come on. We'll just move this over here. We'll just do a little bit of this. Do a little bit of that. Okay, let's try that again. Start her over. I think it's going to work. Good night, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Turn your blind eye. Whoa, turn your blind eye. Turn your blind eye. Whoa, turn your blind eye. Turn your blind eye. Walk on by. Don't wanna know why the mama cries. So turn your blind eye. Walk on by. Don't wanna know how them babies die. To turn your blind eye. 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 You might see we only wanna live here peacefully and be free. Like somebody, like everybody. Free to be in our community with no bigotry coming down on me. And I love these beautiful families. Yeah, we wanna be free. Is that so hard to see? Yeah, we wanna be free. Is that so hard to see? Turn your blind eye. Whoa, turn your blind eye. Turn your blind eye. Whoa, turn your blind eye. Turn your blind eye. Walk on by. Don't wanna know about our history. Turn your blind eye. Walk on by. Don't wanna see all them injuries. Turn your blind eye. 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 You might see we wanna do it just be free eternally with sovereignty, integrity, and autonomy. Constitutionally, unalienably. Is that so hard to conceive in the land of the free? Is that Nobody seems to care to share the despair going on around here. As another baby disappears into the atmosphere, it's clear. Nobody wanna hear that, rather leer and cheer and sneer, living in fear. Yeah, they're living in fear of the other, fear of the mother, fear of the sister, yeah, fear of the brother, yeah, fear of the mother, fear of the other, fear of the father, yeah, fear of the brother, yeah, fear of the mother, fear of the other, fear of the baby, yeah, fear of the brother, yeah, fear of the mother, fear of the other, fear of the neighbor, yeah, fear of the brother. Turn your blind eye, whoa, turn your blind eye, turn your blind eye, turn your blind eye, turn your blind eye. You might see all we wanna do is live peacefully and be free, like with somebody. Is that so hard to see? That we wanna be free, yeah, we wanna be free, like with somebody, like everybody. Yeah, we wanna be free, oh, we wanna be free. Is that so hard to see? Yeah, we wanna be free, like with somebody, like everybody. Yeah, we wanna be free, oh, we wanna be free.
Like him, I killed in the name of good. But the violence of my life pulled my soul towardsness. But I fought and freed my soul. Now I watch for others like me. Men are the ones who create evil on Earth. It is the choices they make that enslave their souls to hell. This is the test.